Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Nick Delinski Show. This is Scott Kerker, along with Metamore head coach Nick Delinski. Coach, we're going to cover 2 weeks this week because of some scheduling conflicts.
We can blame Jim Matson.
Yes.
Just go ahead and blame Jim.
We'll blame Jim.
Jim, we appreciated it, but yeah, we had to skip last week because he can only do it on Wednesdays as well.
And you were the prep rally.
We're the prep rally team of the week, and we survived the jinx and got the win. I mean, sometimes those things are real, but no, that was real fun for the kids, and obviously Jim does a great job with what they do. So
nice pictures too.
Yeah, when you get that opportunity,
you got to.
I think I'm old enough not to be a sophomore though anymore. Am I looking a little older?
No. You're still about the same, really.
I'm starting to grade it up a little bit more, I guess.
Oh, cry me a river. We'll start with Pekin. Pekin came into town. Pekin's, I think right now they're at 3-4.
Correct.
And they're a very dangerous team. They've lost some players. They lost Dylan Anderson. He's a tremendous athlete.
Tremendous. Very good player. Hope he heals up and, speedy recovery to him. And, hopefully that the Lord blesses him with his ACL getting healed up after surgery because very talented guy with a really, really bright future.
Sure. That's tough to overcome when you probably built your offense kind of around things he can do or the fact that he's on the field and people watch him like they do Jadon. Eyes are on him and gives other players a chance to do something big.
And the Benassi kid who's been the quarterback for, seems like forever now, but he can really sling it. And when you got a guy that can go run and, it makes it a little easier to just throw it as far as you can knowing he's going to go get it.
For sure.
Usually he's going to outrun whoever's covering him. So obviously that changed who they were pretty significantly. They started to find new ways. And then, unfortunately, had a couple other injuries, and the running back ended up with a fractured foot, and would have been the Morton game, or whichever game it was the week before they played us. It was Morton, and ended up with a foot, and so hopefully he has a speedy recovery too. I talked to him Monday night at the JV game, and he's in a boot. They tried to tape it up and see if he could get through Friday night, and he just couldn't get going.
Yeah, will he be out the year?
I would assume. I didn't talk about that, but you get stress fracture in your foot, and you got to deal with it. And and when it's your foot, it's one of those things that you don't want it to linger, and you got to really fight to try to get back because there's going to be pain there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a tough loss for them. But they came to town, and you knew you were going to have to play well to beat them because even with those guys missing, they still had weapons.
Oh, they got the quarterback's as good as anybody in the conference, and he's a good thrower, good runner, pretty accurate. They had a couple other threats still that that they could use, and then defensively they've done a pretty good job of maintaining, and they've given up some yards, but they've kept people out of the end zone for the most part. So we knew on both hands, both sides of the ball, we were gonna have our hands full, and we did just enough. I thought that our kids performed pretty well.
And they have a big line, both sides, big guys up front. So you're right. It was going to be it was going to be a tough game. You're going to have to play well to win that ball game.
Absolutely, and it's one of those games. You're a situation that they're coming off a win, and they're still fighting for their playoff spots. And you always know that 6 wins is better than 5 in terms of seeding wise and all that sort of stuff. So they had a lot to play for last Friday night, and same as us. We're in the same boat. That every time you get a chance to get a win, you want to make sure you take the best advantage.
And you were without Jadon
Correct.
The game, and just next man up, and it was split between Keon and Mark Asherman.
Mark Asherman and Keon, unfortunately, makes a really good run on a 3rd and 9, I think it was, on a counter, and picks up a first down and just landed on his right hand, and his right pinky just kind of got caught either on a player or the face mask once he landed, dislocated it, and then so we're still in a situation. He's casted up and trying to see where he's going to be here in the next couple of weeks. But, I thought he really, really ran hard. He only ended up 4 carries, but we've really been working with Keon, one, confident-wise, of understanding, get your pad level down, run through some guys. And that's probably his most physical run he had all year, and ends up breaking his finger. And then Mark came in as a sophomore and, kind of thrown into the fire, and the good news is the guy next to him's been in a lot of fires. And, Steven ended up having a real good night.
Yeah.
We use those guys kind of interchangeably to make sure we're not using one too much and getting the best option.
You got up on them quick. The first 2 drives you had, scored both times. I believe it was 16-0. Pekin came back because they're not going to lay down for you. They came back and made it 16-14.
They did a real good job of, when we were prepared for them. They came out in a couple different formations, and they run a lot of tackle pull, tackle wrap, and but they got into a little different formation and found a little window and a gap that we had to make some adjustments at. So Coach Herring, the defensive guys, really sat down at halftime. We made a real good adjustment,
Yes.
and then the kids executed. And those are things that we've talked about before. When you can make those adjustments at halftime and the kids respond really well, that means they trust you. And they know that you're going to be putting them in the best spot to be successful.
Yeah, I thought, you went in, I believe, halftime up 16-14.
If you say so.
I think something like that. But you're right. I thought the halftime adjustments, you completely took that away. You played, I thought, defensively, a really good second half. Your offense kept going, kept putting points on the board. I think you only had one possession in the second half that you didn't score.
I believe that is correct. Yes, we got down in there and had a fourth down stop. Yes.
Yeah. But that's pretty good percentage. You end up coming away. I believe it was 43-14.
37. I think it was 37.
37.
Yeah.
40, yes, 37-14. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, first half was fun. We put that first score in and got after them, and then we get a bad punt. We talked about going in that if we got a turnover or quick change, we're going to go to the double pass, the screen reverse back to Steven, and him and Braden had been ready for it. We've been working on it for about 3-4 weeks, and we talked about it for Can't Week, and then we also had it for that, and we went to it, and kids executed really well. And those are fun plays. Kids really get excited about them, and those are the things that get you excited for a football game. And then, and really that second half, we talked about defense. Caleb McAllister just puts on a big hit, catching the flat, and ball squirts out, and Jason Pickles picks it up and houses it. And felt really good for Caleb because, it's been a long road for him. And then, fortunately, he got a little bit boogered up on that play. So hopefully he's healing up and we'll be back soon. But a lot of excitement from the kids. Caleb cares a lot. And, one of those plays where you get after a guy and ball pops out, crowd goes wild. And, those are the ones you kind of think about and you hope for. And when you get that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it.
For sure. And it was nice to see Jason Pickles get the scoop and a score.
Yeah, we call that, we got different fumbles, recoveries. We stole this from Brett Bielema. You got a country fumble, right? You're all out by yourself, right? So you go grab it. City fumble, which a little bit more traffic. Got to make sure you fall on it. And then, so those are Brett Bielema's. And then Coach Albert's boy, Chase, came up with one called the suburban fumble. It's kind of in the city and it's kind of in the country. So you kind of make a decision as you're approaching it on what you're going to do. So those are kind of fun things. But we practice those all year and, identifying what it is and knowing what you can do with the football because it's one of those situations. Jason, it bounces to you. Don't want to fall in that way. You go get that one and take it to the house.
And that's what he did.
For sure, because he can run. That dude's fast.
He's a fast kid. And, I like the way you've been able to spread the ball around. You've got your running backs, and you got Stephen Petrie that kind of do the running. But when you've got some talent, you got Bittner, you got McMillan, and you've got Pickles on the outside. Mm-hmm. All three of those guys on any given play can score from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of explosive guys, and we talked about. I was talking today to Clutch Sports just a little bit about what our offense is. And we can be explosive. We can have a lot of 1- and 2-play, 3-play drives. But we've also had some really 15, 16-play drives, too, that shows maturity. Yeah. So we can do a little bit of both, for sure. But, Braden has the 3 catches for 3 touchdowns against Canton. Kylan gets 3 real big ones against Pekin on our 3 completions to get us set up down at the goal line a couple times. But getting Kylan back and his thumb's getting better and, those sort of things are really important because he is an explosive guy. And, Braden catches everything. There's no doubt about what he can do for us. And showed more explosiveness in the Canton game than I think some people thought he had on film. So that's going to help him as well. It helps him get free on the, we call the dropouts in the stick routes. So, and then Jason's had some really big plays. Morton on the screenplay, to get it in and snake it in. And so, all those guys are really important. But I think we've complemented each other pretty well in playing complementary football between all 4 or 5 of those, Caleb, Morrison in terms of as being our H-back that we, get double handoff to or throw it out of the flat. And, and even Elijah Edwards at tight end, we've thrown and got a touchdown week 1. We haven't used it much lately, but having a real good year, and that's what sets things up as we go forward.
And speaking of Elijah Edwards, he's played a lot of tight end, but I've noticed you're sneaking him a little bit in on defense because he's not bad on defense.
He's played a little bit of JV defense just because we need some depth, and he is he's a really good athlete, and he's brings a little bit more heftiness, I would say is the best way to say it, because he's put together, and a lot of trunk. You know, and when you can get those guys in there, and Jackson Backus and Caden Petone, are a little lighter guys, and there's going to be a time probably we're going to need a little bit heavier in there, opposite of Sam Barbarinas. But it's allowed us to mix and match and get them some reps, and we're really happy with those DNs are doing right now.
Just creating depth.
Yeah, that's and that's where you're at this time of year because you never know who's going to go down, you never know what injury's going to show up, and but everybody's got them this time of year. When you get into week 8, I don't know if anybody's playing fully healthy, but you're just trying to keep as many guys fresh as you can.
You touched on a little bit about Caleb Morrison has scored, I don't know, maybe 5 2-point conversions.
He's got quite a few. It's either him or Steven.
And those 2-point or those double handoffs, they'd run that so well. Our camera guy, which is my brother Mike, he's been fooled, and he has to move the camera real quick to
just
get back.
Pan out. Do the pan out. That's what we tell the people on our cameras, and we got it on the drone. If you're not sure, just pan out. Pan out.
Because they run it so well.
I like to say we practice it a lot, but we don't. Let's be honest with you. We do on Thursday when we go through our 2-point plays and a little bit, but that's about it. It's one of those things. It's sometimes the less you practice it, the better it becomes because you don't overthink about it, and they just hand it off and go. And Steven loves it because then he gets to try to go lead block somebody. So it's a fun play, and we've executed pretty well all year, and we just keep trying to find different ways to use it and hide Caleb a little bit. But a lot of the times, they're just fooled, and Caleb has run into guys that just run into the defense with the ball, and they just don't know he's got it. So.
And I think you've ran it a couple of times in midfield. I think you've ran it twice.
Not this year. Not yet. Coach Kurt has at the freshman level. They ran a couple double handoffs, but you just never know when it might sneak in there. So you just keep paying attention.
So you come away with a big win at home. It's homecoming. That was a nice win at homecoming. And it's always nice to win that game. Another conference win.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps us in the playoff in the conference race. I mean, obviously somebody's still got to knock off Washington. Dunlap tried and didn't get theirs. You still got Morton left at the end of the year, so we can find a way to get them off. But otherwise, you got to go 1-0. You get to 8-1, 7-1 after this week, and get to 8-1. You just never know what's going to happen. Game of football, and they're a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-old kids that you just never know. On a certain night, they might get hot, and the other team struggles a little bit, and then you're right back in it. But that would be. We got to make sure we take care of each week, but obviously those are important things to us. And we talked about at the beginning of the year, and we didn't take care of it, so we need a little help.
Your next game then was another home game against the Limestone Rockets, who came tonight. I think they came in at 0-6, but they are a very much improved ball club.
I mean, they're doing better. They're doing better things. Absolutely. Coach Bielman's doing a pretty good job with them and getting them organized, especially offensively. Offensively, they can pose some problems, and you look out there and you're like, double tight, double wing, and under center, and ram and lion. I'm like, it's a lot of old Metamora football that's going on out there. A lot of belly and some buck, but a little bit more double dive. So when nobody else is doing it, that's an offense that's tough to prepare for and to get what you need out of it. And they just keep getting a little bit better each week. They've scored points. That's one thing they have been able to do. They struggle a little defensively in terms of matching up. But, when you only get 24 kids and a lot of those kids are going both ways, eventually something tires out and the fatigue comes in the second half, and a lot of that happens on the defense because, defensive line guys are chasing a lot and offensive line guys are usually blocking 2 and 3 yards and get their breath. So, but they are an improved team, and they still got 2 more chances at it. But we knew we had to try to take care of that one early and get after them, and didn't go quite as we planned. We got the first touch. We get the touchdown on the kickoff return, which was exciting. Our first one since McMillan. Yeah. The first one since you told me Vogie. So that was exciting, and then we missed the 2-point conversion. We get the onside kick. We end up going at 4 and out, and lose 2 yards. That wasn't exactly how we anticipated starting the game, and then they go down to score, and actually they're up 7-6, and you're going, here we go. But offensively after that, we pretty much, took control and got things going in the direction we wanted. But it wasn't exactly the start that we were looking for right away. And we talked to the kids, and there's some things that, we threw an interception that I told Steven was more on the coaches than it was on him because we just didn't notice on film that safety was rolling, and we should have saw that. So we took that one because he's like, Kylan was open by 3 yards. I just was going to give him a ball to go get and catch, and then that safety came over. So that one's more on us than it's on him. So, still things to improve on. You get the win as a win, and but I do think our kids understood that we have a lot better football that we could play. But we did take care of things the second quarter on, and came away healthy for the most part as well.
And I thought McMillan returning the opening kickoff, that was a real morale boost, because coming into those games, I'm sure those kids realize, and they shouldn't, but they do realize that Limestone is 0-6, and it's tough to kind of get up for it. But when you can return that opening kickoff, that does kind of...
It gets you going. And I will say that it was kind of a stale atmosphere Saturday night. Friday night. I mean, we just couldn't get things going. Like, the energy wasn't quite where we would like it for a home game, be it, just in general. So I think that was part of it as well. Now, we got to bring our own energy. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. We got to make sure that we're doing all the things right to make sure that we're ready to play every game. So those are things we talked about with the kids, and understand when you get a chance to play them alone, you better play excited. And, but you do get a kickoff return and you're hoping, but then, we come out and make a couple duds, and all of a sudden it's just like, here we go. And we never quite got the full energy turn that we were looking for. And then, we found out a little bit offensively what they were doing defensively, and then we had an idea of we're pretty confident that we can get this going. And then, Mark Ashman goes for 200 yards, and I think it, whatever it was, 20 carries or somewhere in that neighborhood, for 200 yards. And those are special nights for kids. I mean, you don't get those many opportunities. And but no, we think he's got a chance to be, he's got a real bright future. But Mark did a lot of good things, and he did some things that he understood. Now it's all starting to, he's getting that better feel, a little better vision. So as we move forward, he's another weapon that we can put back there.
Coach Otto's got to be really happy with how your offensive line has kind of come together and gotten just a little bit better every week. We talk about it just about every Friday night, but I think it needs to be mentioned. You've got a lot of youth on that offensive line.
Well, for the middle of the second quarter on, we went sophomore, senior, sophomore. Because Riley Blue got a little boogered up, and so we took him out to make, precautionary-wise to make sure he's okay. And, so A.J. Yeager, who's been starting at nose, moved into right guard, and he didn't miss a beat.
No.
You see 77 out there running, he reminds you of his dad, 77, just flying around the field and throwing his body all over the place. And that's why I told him, in film, I'm like, man, that reminded me a lot of your dad. I said, that's a huge compliment. So, those are things that those kids keep getting better. They're not sophomores anymore. They played enough now that, you're not a junior yet, but you're not a sophomore. And those are really important things, because they're starting to make the little adjustments on their own, without being coached. And, hey, coach, we're seeing this, or coach, we're seeing that. What if we ran this? Or how do you want me to handle? Should I do this? And they're coming up with the answers really before the questions are asked. And those are the things that, the Coach Otto really likes, because that way we're taking that next step and the kids can keep getting better.
Number 58, Grove. He's really
played really well. I mean, he just keeps getting better. I mean, he's a 2-year starter now for us. And
he's no longer really a sophomore.
No, he's more of a junior. He's more of a junior now. And but no, he's played really well. And, Jeffrey Reyes next to him, a left tackle, is coming along, and Logan Graff just keeps getting better each week. So, we're really excited about where they're at. And, if you throw in Elijah Edwards and you put Caleb Morrison or Zeke Brevard at the wing, we got a pretty good chance to get some guys moved, and they've done a real good job.
I thought your center, Cable's been
Owen's been, the best thing about a center is you don't say anything, he's doing his job, right? Because usually the only time you hear about Owen doing something, snap. you're like, Owen, that's bad. So usually I try not to talk to him, because that means he's doing a lot of good things. But no, he's been Owen's got, the Offensive Player of the Week a couple times, the Wood Award, gets us all organized up front. And then Riley Blue's playing it at all conference level.
Yeah.
And,
he's a big boy.
He's a big boy, and he runs really well as long as you keep him in a small area. So he'll tell you, he goes, I'm good for 10, Coach. I'm good for 10. But after that, I need a bit of a breather.
Well, he knows his limitations.
That's right. That's all we ask our kids, right? Be you. That's what we talk about. You got to do your job and your job only, and be who you are to the best of your ability. And he knows that first 10 is what he needs.
Your kids get the big win, and you're now 6-1 on the season, and you're heading into these final 2 weeks. You've got East Peoria this week. You got Dunlap week 9, and we'll talk a little bit about those upcoming games when we come back. We'll also get the player of the game for Canton and the player of the game for Limestone.
Pekin.
Pekin. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. For Pekin and for Limestone. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the players of the game. Welcome back to the Nick Delinski Show. Again, I want to thank Jake and Sarah Atkins for letting us film this show down here. It's awfully thankful for that.
Yeah, great sausage pizza.
Oh,
it's a great
yes.
sausage pizza.
Anything you get here is really
It's
good.
really good.
Coach, against Pekin, your player of the game?
We're gonna combo it up with Caleb McAllister and Jason Pickles for the big hit. And we were a little stalemated offensively there, and we hadn't quite got over the hump yet. One of those where you're needing that extra score, and we had an opportunity a couple times we didn't get it. And then Caleb makes the big hit, and Jason's there to pick it up. And it's one of those where you take the deep breath, right? Because then you're like, all right, now we're in complete control of this game now. And that's a huge hit, and pretty excited for both of those two.
And then against Limestone?
It'll be Mark Asherman. I mean, sophomore had a great night. Obviously, the guys up front did a really, really good job blocking for him. But 200 yards is 200 yards, and
sure.
He'll be the first one to tell you, kind of like Jadon did earlier in the year, like without those dudes up there, we can't get this done. And he really thanked them a lot after the game because when you're a sophomore and you get an opportunity on Friday night under the lights on Malone, and you put a 200 spot up on the board, that's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, it certainly does. Coach, you got 2 big games coming up. You got East Peoria this coming week, and then next week you got Dunlap. But let's concentrate on East Peoria. East Peoria improved. A lot of those guys are 3-year starters now. Quarterbacks, got an article in the paper about him today.
Yep.
He's a left-handed quarterback that can wing it all over.
He can wing it, and they got a bunch of good receivers, and they got a couple guys out that weren't out that are basketball guys or athlete guys that have really kind of changed what their look is on offensively. The running back is a big running back. He can break a lot of tackles, so we got to tackle well. But yeah, they'll sling it. Last week they put up points all over the place. I think number 6 had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns on his first 3 touches in the first half against Morton. So obviously he's a guy that we got to pay attention to. But yeah, we've seen the quarterback now, and they're sitting at 4 wins, right? And they got to get to their 5th one, and they got us this week and Washington next week. So they're trying to find a way to get to that 5th one to get in the playoffs, and our job is to make sure they don't get the 5th one versus us.
Right, for sure. When you look across the Mid-Atlantic Conference, it's kind of fallen into place, kind of how people thought it was going to be. But I think Metamora, I think we got picked 2nd or 3rd.
Well, the Journal-Star, they had us at 5-4, and
That's right.
we were 4-3 in the conference, and us and then Dunlap was 3-4, and they had Pekin 9-0 winning the thing, and then Washington 2nd, Morton.
Right.
But those are all those things that go in the paper, right? There's a lot of question marks that need to be answered, and I thought we've answered what we needed. I mean, if you look on paper, offensively, we knew who the 2 big dudes were, and and having Steven and Jadon back, but what are you going to bring back up front? And so understandable, where that's at, but we don't really pay attention to that a whole lot. I think the kids might have saw it and felt a little disrespected, but we don't really talk about it in terms of, hey, let's go prove people wrong. Our job is to just take care of ourselves each week, try to get to that 1-0 and continue to improve each week, and that's where we're at. And, if we take care of what we can do, we put ourselves in a position to be, 2nd in the conference or tied for the 1st, depending on, this week what Washington does in their Week 9 game.
Coach, I know you may not want to admit it, but I'm sure you've probably taken a sneak peek at some of the playoff outlooks just to kind of get an idea where you're at.
Oh, absolutely. We got to start looking and try to have an idea. If you can start finding some film on people if you can, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those spots where, we're still in that 4A, 5A bubble. I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't say I'm like going to bet my house on it, but I'm pretty sure we're going to end up in 4A. We'll see what comes out, this week again, when the playoffs come out and they put us in 5A. But the IHSA ones, obviously isn't what the final one is, because we'll take that 256 and divide by 8 and see where you fall in at. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be 4A. But so you're looking at teams up north still that, the Morrises and the Montinis, the Rochelle's and Dixons. If you head south, it's probably going to be Sacred Heart Griffin and Rochester and
some good schools.
For sure. And so those are things that you're going to do. But it's about taking care of each week. But if we can get ourselves to 8-1 or 7-2 over the next 2 weeks, get our win each week, putting ourselves in a great place to be at home. Round 1, and that's where it starts, right? You can get a Saturday afternoon game at Malone in the playoffs. That's a pretty special feeling for all of us, and I'm just excited to get to that opportunity. We know that 6 wins gets us in. Now let's go see what we can do.
Yeah, for sure. When you look at some of those schools that are going up into 6A, some of the private schools, there's just a bunch of them. And in 6A, East St. Louis is going to be in that group. The Mid-Illini is going to be represented in 4A, 5A, 6A.
Maybe. Pekin's going to have to try to get in. I think they'll end up in 6A. They got to find their way in. But there's a good chance that you got Washington Dunlap falling in 5A, the way things are starting to shake out. So
and Morton, too.
And Morton will be in 5A. So, I mean, we'll have a good representation in 5A for sure. If we end up there, too. I mean, that's again a Mid-Illini Conference tournament again in the Central Illinois seedings. But, no, I think our conference is going to be well represented. I think we got some really good teams. If you look at competitive games and crossover scores and that sort of stuff, I think Washington's in a great place if they can get into 5A, depending on the draw and who's in it. But I think they got a real good chance because they just keep getting better each week, too. But, and Morton's in that spot where, they lost a few, got the quarterback hurt, got the new quarterback rolling now, the sophomore, and he's starting to make more plays each week we see on film. So, those are some teams that would be hard outs.
For sure.
And then Dunlap, they got plenty of talent. So we haven't seen them yet, so we'll know more after week 9.
It's nice to be 6-1 though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? Try to win one day each week, and 6 of them is good. And I think the kids are really excited about where we're at. When you can get your playoff T-shirts ordered in week 7, you get those done. That's exciting stuff for the kids, and that's what this is for. As much as we love it as coaches and be a part of it, we know that we've been there for the most part. But kids only get one opportunity at this experience, and I know that we got a bunch of hungry seniors that they talk about it. Let's get to week 3, right? Get to week 3 in the playoffs. Let's get to the quarters. We've had a lot of success week 1. We just haven't been able to get past the second round, and we've ran into some really good teams. And a couple games felt like we could have won that we didn't quite pull off. So we just got to get in that opportunity where you have the ball at the end of the game to either take a knee to win it or you're going down to score to win it. And, those are the things that we're trying to prepare for each week and understand the big picture. And but our kids are excited. They're doing things the right way. We had a good week of practice this week and a lot of good energy this week. And we'll talk about, going into East Peoria, it's on the bowl. Crowd noise is kind of lifted above the kids kind of thing. But great atmosphere there, though, in terms of the bleachers, and it's kind of a good scenery. So, yeah, we're excited about that opportunity, and then we'll just keep lining up each week and try to get one week better.
Well, congratulations, Coach, on a great season so far. Keep it rolling.
Well, we're going to try.
That'll do it this week. We'll see you Friday night in East Peoria.